Hey everyone, welcome back to Seth Speaks. You'll laugh so hard you'll be carried out on a gurney. Hear from the humans, Jane Howdy, Stephen Cameron, Reed Bernie. It was the easiest rhyme. Howdy Show was the second. So Stephen wrote The Humans to a nomination for him, and then Jane Howdy Show and Reed are two of the stars, Tony nominees for that as well. The play, I want to say, began off Broadway. Stephen, am I correct?
That's correct.
And the play is basically your family's Thanksgiving just transcribed from a cassette recorder.
Yeah, I didn't have to write
You
a
don't
word.
have to change anything. It's
No, I
not
wish.
the most functional of families. Okay, so we'll talk about it. So first of all, Stephen, so how did you decide to write this show, which is basically about a family getting together for Thanksgiving, and just they've got some issues.
Well, I thought I was going to write a thriller, like a death trap, like a stage thriller. So it actually didn't start as a family drama. And
What was gonna be the scary part?
well, I was interested in talking about fear and anxiety and the way that people cope with it. So I sort of had this. You're probably the only person that will know this reference. But have you seen The Last of Sheila by Stephen?
I know of it, but I've never seen it. It's a little before my time.
No,
But it's
you've never seen it?
No, it's before my time.
You weren't born then.
But
That's
it's-
I
it's
forgot.
Stephen
It's in the
Sondheim.
'70s. You were not born.
I was
then, but-
around. I was enjoying things, but not any rickety rackety piece of crap in the 70s. All right,
Right,
continue.
but when I was a teenager, I became obsessed with a lot of these thrillers where they had like puzzle-like qualities, and that's one where each person is assigned to a specific like mystery or secret or crime or whatever. So I was thinking about the big existential fears, fear of poverty, fear of ill health, fear of
I see.
criticism. Sarah Steele's character with the letter of recommendation
Yes.
backfiring.
That was a great speech, by the way. We'll talk about that, but that was very
So-
inspiring to me.
Anyway, it got started because I started to create a group of characters that was sprung from one of these fears, and
And then after
gradually
the
all
80th
that fell away, and I just had a family.
Yeah, because so what happened? You were like, where's the scary part? All I'm doing is laughing as I'm writing this. You began to realize I'm no longer scared.
A little bit, but I was interested in the more it became, you have to let the play become what it wants to
Yeah.
be, and so the more it became this strange genre collision, I feel like when I watch it, I still see a family thriller, but I sort of have to accept now that most people do not see
No, dear.
like the scary play that I still carry with me, that I went into it with. But when Reed's going up the staircase,
I was
at
scared
the
when I
end-
saw the ticket price. Anybody? Actually, by the way, I got press seats, so it literally makes no sense. All right, go on.
there are $39 tickets every show
Okay.
and
All right,
$30 rush. Okay.
Totally not even serious. I
But-
just do my Porsche belt.
No, that's a moment out of even a Wes Craven movie or Halloween. It's when Reed is taking the place of the beautiful young woman going up the stairs.
Not taking the place, I don't think.
Or actually is the.
You tell me. So speaking of Reed, Reed is one of the stars of the show, and the last time I saw you was in Harvey Firestein. What was the name of it?
Casa Valentina.
Casa Valentina. They just did it on the West Coast, I know.
That's right.
So you were in full drag then, and now you're back in full male regalia.
That's right.
And then, so what is, like, it is sort of a heavy show for you, I would think. Are you sort of like, oh my God, 8 times a week I don't have the energy to be this depressed?
I remember saying when we were off Broadway and were told that we were moving to Broadway, I thought, oh, I'm going to have to cry every day now for the next year,
Wow.
which I don't generally do. But
Because you're not a 14-year-old girl, okay?
right. But I love the play so much, and the part is so fantastic that I just am thrilled to live in that world every day.
Okay, and Howdy Shell. Last time I saw you was in Follies, of course, where you sing Broadway Baby. You're amazing. You also backstage. I saw you. Was it backstage a Disaster? I remember, or did you write? I remember speaking to you after my show Disaster, but I can't remember where it was. It was backstage opening night, but I remember there was something related to you and Disaster. I feel like I saw you in The Receptionist. Could that be?
Maybe.
I was obsessed with that show too. So do you only do the most amazing plays in the world? What's with that? How do you choose? Are you one of those people that, because people say to me like, why don't you ever come to St. Louis? I'm like, offer me a job and I'll go. Are you one of those people like, if you get a play, you're like, I'll take it? Or are you like, I'm very discerning with my plays?
I worked for 27 years in regional theater, doing old revivals and classics and modern classics, but all plays that had been done before, and the roles had been originated by other people and stuff. So It was 15 years ago that I decided I needed to make a shift in my life and career, and I decided that I really wanted to be doing new work because I'd never originated anything.
Wow.
So that's when I fully committed to not going out of town but staying in New York. And the first play that I landed was Lisa Krone's play Well,
Uh-huh.
which
So you
we
made a
did.
decision, a minute later, got the most amazing show in the world. It's so great. I love it.
Yeah, and we did it off Broadway and on Broadway, and it was a 4.5-year journey. But in the course of that time, because that play received so much recognition, I met all these new burgeoning, emerging playwrights who asked me to come on board with new work. So, you know, it was like I was fulfilling exactly what I wanted to do and experience as an artist, and The Receptionist was definitely one of those plays.
It's a great show.
And Coraline was another one, and
So
Pain in the Itch, and
But Follies was a revival, but you did that because it was a big, exciting.
I did that because, you know, when you get called for a Sondheim show, you might want to do it
You're funny that way.
on the Broadway. I couldn't believe that fell into my lap. That
You were
was,
great in it.
Thank you. I loved doing it. It was one of the most joyful experiences I've ever had in my life, and it was so thrilling because because the cast was so fantastic and the orchestra was and the
I know.
orchestrations
The
were
full
so
orchestra as
gorgeous.
opposed to the four-person garage band that we have to deal
And
with
I
half
had
the
all
time.
this spare time in the show. I wasn't on much at all. And James Moore, the conductor, let me go down in the pit and listen and have that experience of being surrounded by that sound.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it was the thrill of a lifetime. I sat backstage every single night and listened to the whole show. I just couldn't get enough of the score.
I love it. And now, that was your first Broadway musical, wasn't it?
No, I did Bye Bye Birdie, and I did Wicked.
Before that?
I was in Wicked for 18 months on Broadway.
As Elphaba? Because that's high. You can. I know. She's
No, I
Madame
was
Horrible. Off my.
Very good, Glinda.
Exactly. You still got it. Now, Reed Birney, you sing this like 2-second thing in the play, but I thought your voice was great. Have you ever done any Broadway musicals?
Why, no, I haven't.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Have you tried out?
Not much.
Maybe that's the problem. Never actually auditioned for one.
Yeah, I think people, you know, it's really parallel worlds, the musical world and the straight play world. So maybe things will change now that I get to sing in this show.
You do have such a nice Irish voice. I was so impressed. Both you guys sound amazing on your little Irish ditty.
It's a beautiful song, yeah.
And okay, so we're back to Karen, the actual writer. So this is your first Tony nomination, right?
Yeah, first Broadway
Very
play.
exciting. And first Broadway play as well. So what is your, it's so boring, but what is your writing process? Do you like Charles Bush, was like every morning at 11 a.m. Or you just like, whatever?
No, I mean, I do think you have to be disciplined. I think anybody who makes something is disciplined, even if they say they're not. But
Interesting.
no, I mean, I feel like I do a lot of reading and dreaming in between the actual writing.
Wait, you mean like going on Facebook like I do? Is that your version of reading?
That's part of it, but I try to cut back on that.
Oh. Uh-oh.
So more like, but I do watch a lot of your videos online. I've gone down some wormholes.
Some
I'm
Radesky
obsessed.
wormholes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Still got it.
Yeah, so you still got it. And no, but so a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of.
What do you mean by reading? Reading other people's stuff or reading about the stuff you're writing?
Like reading about religion, if I'm thinking about religion, like reading about sociology, or in this case, I stumbled into a book called The Examined Life when I was thinking a lot about human behavior. That leads you to novels. Then somebody tells you, "Oh, you're interested in this. Why don't you read that?" You know, I think that can be a way of putting off the writing. But at the end of the day, when the writing starts, it's usually more. It flows a little more freely.
Because the whole artist's way is like, do no reading whatsoever. Like, write it all, like, with no actual reading.
No, I mean, I feel like when I get inspired by other people's work, that puts me really in the mood to write. In fact, I solve problems when I'm in the middle of a play, like a draft, and I can't solve a problem. Seeing other plays and musicals is sometimes the most helpful thing. I can't even explain why, but in the middle of a scene in a play that has nothing to do with my play, completely different tone, style, structure, sometimes you just get like lightning bolts.
I know what you mean. Like seeing another puzzle solved makes you go, oh, I can solve this puzzle.
Exactly.
Hey, how long ago did you start writing it? I don't think I ever asked you that.
I think I started writing this play in 2012 and finished it like at the end of 2012.
And
like
then
a draft.
What's your process? Like when we did Disaster, like when I finished Act 1, I had my friends come over and read through Act 1. Do you have readings, I guess you do it, or you do it all yourself? What's the deal?
You know, I'm a bit of a weirdo. I like to keep it super close. It's not that my first drafts come out neat. It's just that I write about 20 of them before I even want friends to read it out loud. But then, yes, then it's like safety of friends around a table. And
But when you begin, you know, like literally every 2 pages, I'm calling my friends and reading to them. Like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
No, but
No
my
joke.
friends who are writers are the exact same way, and I'm often on the end. Like I love being the person that gets those calls, but I think it's just how I'm wired. I feel like if I start asking other people what they think before I know what I think of the work,
Oh.
it feels very harmful and feels too overwhelming. But when I sort of have a handle on what the thing is, then it's quite exciting and not as scary to hear a group of actors say like, yeah, I got a little lost here. I got to, you know. But when you don't know what it is, I feel like maybe I'll get sent down another path if I don't figure it out myself first.
So well analyzed. Where'd you go to college, Smarty Pants?
I went to Brown University.
I knew it. Okay, because everything is so
But I
like
went to
thesis
public
A,
school going
thesis
up to that.
B,
I'm very proud of my
conclusion.
public school education in Scranton. So
Scranton, hey, it's featured heavily
I have
in
to-
Humans.
I have to give a
Okay,
shout
so
out.
Howdy Shell. So now I just last week I had Michael Lembeck on the show, and he was like, "I'm going to be a TV director," and the next minute he got a TV show. So I love that you were just like, "I'm going to originate roles," in the next minute. But if you hadn't, do you have a day job all these years you were working like in New York?
No, no, I just struggled. I worked. I was able to work real steadily for those 27 years I was in regional theater, and so there was a couple of years when I stopped doing that and was focusing on working here, where the times were very lean, and I got more than one eviction notice. But I was
We've all been there.
I was determined not to lose my focus. I mean, I was working for free a lot, doing readings and workshops and things, and I just didn't want to take a job that was going to take my focus away. So I just white-knuckled it through that period until I started becoming gainfully employed again.
So determined. I love it. And since this is our Tony special for Memorial Day weekend and whatnot, what is your Tony story? So, Reed, were you up at 8 o'clock with a cup of coffee and Kleenex nearby in case you didn't get
No,
nominated?
I was too nervous. So the good news is I slept very well that night.
Really?
Yeah, I
Klonopin?
don't know what that was about because I didn't expect to, but I slept really well. And I think it was 8:30 that they started announcing
Yes.
it, and I woke up at like 8:15, and I turned over again and went back to sleep. And about 10 to 9, I think I got a text that something good had happened.
Oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
actually didn't watch.
I didn't watch.
Okay, Karen, what about you?
yeah, so I was trying to get the live feed, and I have terrible
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi in my apartment.
Like in the Humans, you have to go by the window.
That's right.
So I was just on the internet, just like a crazy person trying to see what.
Going to every single website possible.
Yeah, and eventually the first thing that was just text. People start texting.
And
Yeah.
what was the feeling when you got the nomination?
Incredible. I still can't believe the show is on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
So none of this is lost to me. And it's also like, I think when your career is mostly off Broadway, or even just when you're a writer in general, you don't really expect anything. I feel like the bad reviews are a surprise, but good reviews are a surprise. You don't take anything for granted. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So
I
like
do
the
know what you
world
mean,
in which
especially
we
being a
would
writer.
not have received a nomination didn't feel strange to me at all. It feels like that stuff happens all the time.
So you weren't writing this to be like, this would be a Broadway play. You were just like, I'm writing a play.
I was like, I'm writing a play. Yeah.
And then it just happened to get snagged. for
Yeah, I'm
Broadway.
kind of a believer that like good plays are good plays,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of the, if not most of the great plays are now all discovered or being created off Broadway or
Yeah.
in smaller theaters across the country. I think this thing has happened where we associate intimate with new work by younger writers. And so the extension of that is this, I think, huge fear that like the work will implode when it moves to a bigger stage.
They always say that. How is it going to be retain its intimacy on Broadway?
It's become this big thing when I'm like, seeing a great play like The Glass Menagerie in a black box theater is kind of its own amazing experience, and you can't recreate that. But the play also doesn't wilt when you put it on Broadway.
No, dear. Howdy Show, what about you? Where were you in Tony? Was this your second nomination? Third. Okay, third nomination. Rude. Okay, where were you when you got the nomination?
I was sleeping, and I did that kind of on purpose because I did not want to see anybody saying my name or not saying my name. I just didn't want to have that experience, and I knew that whenever I woke up, if I slept in, if I had a lot of emails, I'd know. And if I didn't have any, then I'd know, you know. And so I woke up and went on my computer, and there were lots of nice congratulatory emails, and it was wonderful.
Oh, that's such an exciting time. All right, in conclusion, go to the Humans, up for 8,000 Tony Awards, and go cheer on Reed and Jane on the night of the Tony Awards, and Stephen, of course. Bravo!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still got it.